told me when the guy was done, I should take him out. One less share, right?
Funny, he told me something similar.
No!
Iran says it will take revenge for the US killing of its most powerful military commander. General Qasem Soleimani died when his convoy was hit by a US drone at Baghdad airport. The general was the commander of the Quds Force of Iran's elite Revolutionary Guards. They're responsible for Iranian foreign military operations and answer directly to the country's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. General Soleimani, who for many was seen as a charismatic national hero at home, tens of thousands of Iranians are holding rallies in Tehran and other cities now, denouncing what they call US crimes. Well, Washington said it killed the general because he was developing plans to attack Americans in Iraq and the wider region.
Here's what we know right now. Overnight, Iranian leaders vowed, quote, harsh retaliation after the drone strike killed top General Qasem Soleimani. And Iraq's prime minister called it an act of aggression. That strike at Baghdad International Airport was ordered by President Trump.
The question is whether or not the attack and the strike against him was actually worth it. And I think that is what has prevented previous presidents from taking that step.
You know, Iran is promising revenge for Soleimani's death. How soon do you think we could see a response from Iran? Do we have a sense? You know, we game these situations out in a place like the NSC, in the Defense Department. What could the potential be of retaliation?
Iranian state TV has announced that it has placed an $80 million bounty on the president's head, according to a story broken by website EN24 News. The bounty was announced during the broadcast of the state funeral for General Qasem Soleimani and would purportedly be raised by contributions of $1 from each of Iran's approximately 80 million inhabitants. Iran has 80 million inhabitants, the televised statement said, and based on the Iranian population, we want to raise $80 million, which is a reward for those who get close to the head of President Trump.
A reward for those who get close to the head of President Trump.
Let this serve as a warning that if Iran strikes any Americans or American assets, we have targeted 52 Iranian sites, representing the 52 American hostages taken by Iran many years ago. Some at a very high level and important to Iran and Iranian culture. And those targets and Iran itself will be hit very fast and very hard. The USA wants no more threats. The 52 hostages harks back to the beginning of the US-Iranian schism 41 years ago. The American embassy in Tehran was overrun by revolutionary students, and diplomatic staff were held prisoner for 444 days.
The Vincennes still carried on firing, though they were well inside Iranian territorial waters. The Airbus was now 24 kilometres along the regular air route to Dubai. It had already been wrongly identified as hostile. 27 unsuccessful attempts were made before the correct launch code was entered.
Oh, dead!
Okay.
We had him, got it. That was a dead on! Relax! Ethan on is down. Knock it off!
The Vincennes continued to pound the bog hammers.
Alright, we got a confirmed kill on that one yet, sir? Well, looks like it does. And then the guy was there and then he was gone. We gave that guy his wish. He went to see Allah. I didn't see a parachute in the plane either.
By the way, folks, while we're at it, great.
Go.
No, it's not.
More about you guys. So we play this game here. It's called Fave 5. I'll ask the question. Ivanka, you answer first, and then Dad, you answer also.
This is tough.
Okay, Ivanka, what's the favorite thing you have in common with your father?
Either real estate or golf.
Donald, with your daughter?
Well, I was going to say sex, but I can't relate that.
Nice to see you. Hey, so Donald. All right, I'm afraid to ask this question, but what would you do? Playboy put Ivanka on the cover of the magazine, and she had not.
This is going to be an interesting answer.
He doesn't even want you to have a drink. I know him. So
It would be really disappointing. Not really, but it would depend on what was inside the magazine.
If she posed, it would be fine. But if they put her picture on,
Yeah, but it depends on what goes inside the magazine.
Well, see, that's her gripe. That's this girl's gripe.
And
People
there was
assume
nothing.
there'll be nude photos.
Right, you do assume that with Playboy.
Okay,
but if there weren't, you wouldn't have an issue with it then. If they were using her to...
I don't think Ivanka would do that inside the magazine, although she does have a very nice figure. I've said that if Ivanka weren't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her. You know?
Stop it! Oh, it's so weird. Stop
You know what? You are sick.
I know, isn't that terrible?
Yeah.
No, how
Well, you're
terrible?
known for saying
Is that
outrageous
terrible?
things, Mr. Trump.
Who are you, Woody Allen?
You are special. You remind me of my daughter. You know, he's like, you're smart, beautiful, and a woman to be reckoned with. I like you.
He said I was beautiful like her, and, you know, you're a smart girl, and there wasn't a lot of comparing, but there was some, yeah.
No matter what I asked him, he would answer.
She's one of the great beauties of the world, according to everybody, and I helped create her. My daughter, Ivanka.
Yeah.
She's 6 feet tall. She's got the best body.
By the way, your daughter.
She's beautiful.
Can I say this? A piece of
Yeah.
She looks more voluptuous than ever.
She's actually always been very voluptuous.
He's definitely not a typical father. He's a character.
Honestly, I think you should let me run the country. You run CNN.
All right.
And if you did it well, your ratings
Let
would
me
be
ask,
much better.
if I may ask one other question, Mr. President.
That's
I was going
enough.
to ask one of the other folks.
That's enough.
The other folks.
That's enough.
Pardon me, ma'am. Mr.
Excuse
President.
me, that's enough.
Mr. President, I had one other
Peter,
question,
let's
if
go.
I may ask, on the Russia investigation. Are you concerned that you may have?
I'm not concerned
indictments-
about anything with
that you
the
may have
Russian
indictments coming down?
investigation because it's a hoax.
Are you?
That's enough. Put down the mic.
Mr. President, are you worried about indictments coming down in this investigation?
And we will say enough is enough. And we will say enough is enough. And we will say enough is enough.
Revelation 13, chapter 3. And I saw one of his heads, as it were, wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed. And all the world wondered after the beast. So who is the beast? This video will explain that. Clearly, a lot of scriptures have been fulfilled, and this one has yet to come. Someone who is of high authority will be wounded. After this deadly wound, they will be healed miraculously. Clones are real. There's synthetics, there's humanoids, there's robotoids. That's an entire lesson in itself. But to better understand, I want you to watch a couple of clips. Let's go.
First, there's two Trumps. Okay. The one in the red tie is the real one. The one in the blue tie is not. The one you saw last night after the victory was the blue tie. Now, if you would punch up Dr. Carson, Ben Carson, when Trump called him a pedophile, and the next day he joined Trump. And the guy asked him, see, every now and then you slip and say something? He said, why'd you do that? He said, there's two Trumps. I was with the good one. You see it there? Just punch up. When somebody interviewed him, he said, there's two Donald Trumps. That's easy to pull up.
You said there were the two. Are there two Donald Trumps?
There are.
Yeah.
Well, which one is running for president? Which one? Which one?
Who have you seen? Tell us who you have seen.
Well, I have seen a man who's actually willing to sit down and engage in deep, serious conversations about the problems that affect our country. And there's the one who's very cerebral, sits there and considers things very carefully. You can have a very good conversation with him. And that's the Donald Trump that you're going to start seeing more and more of right now.
I think there are two Donald Trumps. There's the public version, and people see that, and I don't know what they see exactly, but it seems to have worked over my lifetime. But it's probably different, I think, than the personal Donald Trump.
World War III did start in 2020. It was a limited war, though, thankfully. It only lasted 3 years. China and Russia were against the UK, America, and a few other countries. And all in all, it was a very fast but brutal war. Countless millions were killed. Nuclear weapons were used in a very limited capacity. Very limited, thankfully. Just battleground nuclear weapons.
¿Cómo le va?
El currículum.
Bien.
Aquí están sus
Rear TV